Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some budget invention perks, and I'm going to be going over perks for weapons, armor, as well as tools. So these perks, they're going to be pretty inexpensive to purchase, and it should be able to help you guys out. Find some basic perks that you can use, which will increase your DPS for your gear and your weapons, but it will also help out with your skilling when you put them on the tools and things like that. Also, in the description, I will be putting timestamps to each section. So for the weapon, armor, and tools section, so you guys are looking for a specific section, you can check down there and just jump to whichever part you want. Anyway guys, I really hope you do enjoy the video, and let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the weapon perks. So there's going to be quite a few that I'm going to be going over. First off is Precise and Genocidal. So Precise 6 costs about 800k to obtain at 120 Invention. That is also with an Extreme Invention potion, so you're actually boosted up to 137. And then also you will be using Ancient Gizmos to get this. And I will be using the same thing for each one of these perks. So just keep that in mind. The probabilities of getting each of these will be depending on if you are at 137 Invention, and you will want to use Ancient Gizmos. So first off, Precise increases your minimum damage by 1.5% per rank of your maximum damage. And as you can see, by using 9 historic components, you can get Precise 6 pretty easily. It's 11.31% chance. And then also, if you can get Precise 6 and Genocidal, which is another really good combination, there's about a 19% chance to get this. And Precise and Genocidal is a really good combo. As I mentioned, Precise will increase the minimum damage by 1.5% per rank, which means if you do have Precise 6, you will be increasing it by 9%. Now also, Genocidal is an excellent perk if you are doing Slayer. You can deal up to 7% extra damage depending on how far you are through your Slayer task. So that will obviously increase your DPS when doing Slayer greatly. So having this combo is an excellent combination to have, and it only costs about 800k to obtain. Now, the second perk that I want to look at is Equilibrium. So Equilibrium 4 costs about 500k to obtain at 120 Invention, again with the Extreme Invention Potion and the Ancient Gizmos. And what Equilibrium does is increase the minimum hit by 3% per rank, and it will also decrease the maximum hit by 1% per rank. This is an excellent perk to have while you are using Precise as well. That's a really good combination for it. With Equilibrium 4, you will be increasing your DPS by about 5%, which will help out a lot. Now also, you can see you can get this perk pretty easily by using 8 time-worn components into an Ancient Gizmo, and you'll have basically a 93% chance of getting Equilibrium 4, and then also a 5.2% chance of getting Equilibrium 4 and Ruthless 3, which is another excellent budget setup. So you can actually test your luck and try and get Equilibrium 4 and Ruthless 3. It will cost about 10 mil to obtain these this combination. And Ruthless, what this does is whenever you defeat an enemy, you'll gain a 0.5% damage boost per rank for 20 seconds. So if you do have Ruthless 3, you'll gain 1.5% damage boost for your 20 seconds, which is really, really great. It's especially great for Slayer, as you can tell, because you're killing a lot of mobs repeatedly, so it will boost your DPS by quite a bit. Ruthless can also stack up to 5 times, meaning that if you do have Ruthless 3 and it does stack 5 times, you'll have a 7.5% damage increase, and this basically always happens when you're doing Slayer tasks since you are killing mobs really quickly, so Ruthless is an excellent perk to have. And now moving on to Armour Perks. So these can also be weapon perks as well, but they're usually put on armor. The first one we're going to look at is Crackling. So Crackling 4 costs about 800k to obtain, again with 120 Invention, Extreme Invention Potion, and Ancient Gizmos. What this perk does is it periodically zaps your combat target for 50% per rank of your weapon damage. This does deal a lot of damage. So if you do have Crackling 4, it will deal 200% of your weapon damage about every minute. And just for 800k, it can be a pretty easy perk to obtain. However, it is even better with another perk. You can get Crackling 4 and Relentless 5. And this does cost around 15 mil to obtain at 120 Invention. The combination to get this will be a bit different, so rather than using explosive components and magic parts, you'll be using 8 vintage components. So you can get these through destroying or disassembling some archaeology relics. And essentially, by doing this, you'll have a chance at Relentless 5 and Crackling 4. Now, Relentless is a really good perk to have. What it does, it has a 1% chance per rank to prevent adrenaline being consumed when using an ability that requires adrenaline. So what this means is when you use an ultimate or threshold ability, you'll have basically a 5% chance that you don't use any adrenaline. This is extremely useful when you use an ultimate ability like Death Swiftness, because basically you'll use that ability and you'll still stay at 100% adrenaline if this perk does activate. Then you can use all your thresholds and stuff in your Death Swiftness, and it increases DPS so much. So it basically will help out a lot in the long run. However, you will need to get a little bit lucky for it to activate. So moving on to our next perk, which is Biting 3. This perk can actually be obtained with level 68 and 69 Invention. That is the best time to obtain it. But you can also decrease your Invention by going to the entrance to the God Wars dungeon. That will lower your Invention level, so you can get it that way. But basically what Biting does, it has a plus 2% chance per rank to critically hit the opponent. So obviously that will help your DPS a lot. Biting 3 should increase your DPS by about 4%, which is pretty helpful. And then it can be obtained just by using 9 direct components. However, there is only a 5% chance to obtain this, so you may need to try quite a few times before getting it. So it can be quite costly to still obtain this perk. It can cost up to 30 mil if you get that on average chance of getting it. So do keep that in mind. It is more of an expensive perk, especially for only a 4% damage increase. Now moving on to the next perk that I want to look at, it's Scavenging. Scavenging is one of my favorite perks because it does have a 1% chance per rank to get an uncommon Invention component as a drop from combat. And then you'll also have another 1% chance that it will be a rare component instead. So these rare components, they can add up and save you a lot of money, especially if you get something like a Noxious component or some of the other expensive rare components. You can obtain this perk by using 9 precious components. As you can see, you'll have basically a 20% chance to get Scavenging 3 and Looting, but if you do want Scavenging 4, you can get that pretty easily as well. You'll have about a 5% chance in total of obtaining that perk, and it is super useful to get Scavenging 4 instead of Scavenging 3. Now, as you can see, this table basically tells you how many materials you will obtain per 10,000 kills, or how many kills it will take to get a material. So at Scavenging 4, it really does help out a lot. On average, it will take about 6 kills to get a material instead of 11 at Scavenging 3. And then also every 10,000 kills, you'll be getting 16 rare components instead of 9 on average, which does help out a lot. Basically, every time you do get one of these procs, at Scavenging 4, you'll get 4 components, but if you do have Scavenging 3, you have a lower chance of getting the proc, and also you will only get 3 components. Scavenging is an excellent perk to have. It will save you a lot of money in the long run just by getting you some components over time. Also, I do have a full scavenging guide that I will link in the description down below if you guys want some more information on this perk, as well as a better look at how it actually works. And so moving on to our next perk, we have Enhanced Devoted. This is a really good perk to have. Basically what it does, it has a 4.5% chance per rank on being hit that protection prayers will work at 100%. So basically you won't take any damage from that hit. So at Enhanced Devoted 4, basically what this will do is give you an 18% chance to not take any damage when you are using protection prayers. It only costs about 1 mil on average to get this with 120 Invention. You will need some faceted components. You'll want 8 of them to use into an Ancient Gizmo to try and get this. And it is an excellent perk to obtain. Another really great armor perk is Impatient 4. This is honestly probably one of my favorites. What it does, it has a 9% chance per rank for basic abilities to generate 3% more adrenaline. So at Impatient 4, you will have a 36% chance to gain an extra 3% adrenaline on each of your basic abilities. Basically, it will allow you to gain a lot more adrenaline over time, and adrenaline is super useful when increasing your DPS. You'll be able to use more thresholds and ultimate abilities sooner. So it is super useful to have this perk. It does cost about 6 mil on average with your 120 Invention using Ancient Gizmos. As you can see, you're going to want to use Zamorak and Zeros components. However, there is another way to obtain Impatient 4. You can also get Devoted 4 as well. Now, Devoted does have a 3% chance per rank on being hit that protection prayers will work at 100%. So basically, it is just a worse version of Enhanced Devoted. But you can actually get this with Impatient 4, so that does make it really useful. It does cost about 28 mil on average to get this combination of perks. As you can see, you're going to want to use a lot of the Zamorak components. You'll need 7 of them, and then 2 Ceradomin components, which are pretty cheap. And you'll have about a 9.5% chance to obtain Devoted 4 and Impatient 4. Although this does cost quite a bit to obtain, it is definitely worth it. This is a really good perk combination that you guys should try and strive for. It does cost 28 mil on average, but you definitely could get lucky and get it sooner. And I do highly recommend this perk setup. And so moving on to our next section, we're going to look at tool perks. Now the first one I want to look at is Imp Sold. This is one of my favorite tool perks to use. It has a 3% chance per rank on successful gathering to send the gathered resource to the bank at a cost of 30 prayer points. So basically, this is a Sign of the Porter. It will save you a lot of charges on your Sign of the Porters. It's excellent for gathering skills, especially a skill like Archaeology. Basically, it will just send the materials straight to your material bank, and it will work the same with woodcutting or mining or any of those other skills. You can get Imp Sold 6 with 9 historic components. You do have a decent chance at getting this to about a 40% chance. And this is a really great perk to have. Gives you an 18% chance to basically just save yourself a charge in your Sign of the Porter. Moving on to our next perk, which is Furnace. Furnace has a 5% chance per rank of consuming a gathered resource for an extra 100% XP, and then also it does have a different ability when using mining. So when mining, you'll have a 5% chance per rank to generate no progress but give double XP. Now you can obtain Furnace 4 by just using 6 vintage components. These are again archaeology related components, and you'll have a 91% chance of getting this. You'll also have a 5% chance of getting Furnace 4 and Fortune 3, which is another pretty good budget setup that we will look at. So Fortune is a really good perk. You can get it with the previous mentioned 6 vintage components, but another way you can get it is using 7 time worn components. You can also get Fortune 3 and Prosper. And what Prosper does is allow you to have a higher chance of gaining clue scrolls. But first off, let's look at Fortune. So Fortune has a 0.5% chance per rank on gathering skills and a 0.1% chance per rank on production skills to double and bank what you have gathered or produced. So basically, it is a lot like Imp Sold in a way where it will bank resources automatically, but it will also double them, increasing your profit when skilling. So this is an excellent perk to have on any of your skilling tools, because it will just basically boost your GP per hour when training those skills. Now moving on to the next perk that I want to look at, which is Honed. This is an excellent perk for gathering skills. So what this perk does, it gives a 2% chance per rank to successfully gather items when training a gathering skill, but when you are mining, it will have a 2% chance per rank of mining an additional ore. Now you can obtain this perk by using 9 sharp components. You can get Honed 5 pretty easily, a 25% chance there. But getting Honed 6 is somewhat rare at a 7.8% chance, so you might need to use quite a few sharp components before you end up getting Honed 6, but it is an excellent perk to have. Now, another way to ensure that you do get honed 6 is by using 9 silent components. Silent components can be somewhat rare and difficult to obtain. They are a rare component after all, but it will basically give you a 90% chance to get honed 6 if you do use 9 silent components. So if you have some left over, you can definitely do this as well. And so anyway guys, those are all of the budget perks that I do want to talk about in this video. Let me know if you found this video helpful, and I hope you can use some of these perks to basically give you a better understanding of Invention and how it will help you in combat, as well as some skills as well. Invention is super helpful and perks will help greatly, so make sure you guys at least put some of these cheaper budget perks on, because they really will help a lot. But anyway guys, I really hope you did find this guide helpful, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.